What's up, guys? It's your host, Spartanic Arts DXD, back with another high school DXD related video. And today we have What If Issei Was Betrayed, part 18. If at all possible, let's try to hit 300 to 400 likes. And when my next series finally comes out, because this one is coming to an end pretty soon, let me know, link the story, like you can go to my email, send me the stories you want me to read, link it in the comments, or you can go to my Discord server, which is in the description, and send a link over there and let me know which story you'd prefer to read after this. But yes, anyway, thank you to my balance breakers, Lachlan Yates, Ant Lewis, Anthony Lewis, Cool Ninja 12, and Night Ammo, also my Juggernaut Drive members. If you guys want to know exactly when I upload / my upload schedule, click the little blue button right next to the subscribe button, or click the first link in the description, the premiere, or the comment section. That would be fantastic. Thank you so much for the support that's been going on my channel lately. It's been a huge help. Trust me, it's been a huge help. Thank you to all my day one supporters. I cannot appreciate you guys enough. Also, thank you to all my Patreon members. Smells Noise, Lachlan Yates, Godkiller, Dragon33171, Mark Bacon, Lord Fluff, and Just_Zeke. Thank you so much for becoming a Patreon member. Without any further intrusions, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and get into What If Issei Was Betrayed, Part 18. So we're going to pick up where we left off, which is right in the middle of Chapter 19 at the line, someone to reprimand me, and she did that and then. So here we go. You saw her body again when you confessed, Gondal says. It wasn't like that. She was using the guy's bath, something about the bath and the girl's dormitory being broken in or something. It was on that same night that you confessed. Be honest. A part of you fought for my granddaughter that night. That's why you made your proclamation, Gondal says. Issei remains silent as he looked down, remembering that night. That same night, she had asked me to kill her, Issei says. Huh? Gondal replied. She told me that if she ever got used by Allude or Rizavim, she asked me to kill her. Seeing her sad like that, I didn't like it. I didn't want to see any one of my friends sad, and then remembered when Elucid stroked her hair, as he clenched his fist, like me, who had no right in using dress break on her. He had no right either, as he wasn't going to hand over someone I cared about to the enemy. It's why I made a promise to defeat. Just like I'm making the same promise to defeat Arius. He looked Gondal directly in his eyes as she watched him, seeing his gaze unwavering. She stared back and watching him for any sort of fault in his eyes, but seeing none, she sighed. Well, this just won't do, Gondal replied. What do you mean? The ring. It wasn't a cheap ring, Issei says. I know. But metals and factions are more refined, especially ones mined by the dwarves. If I may, Gondal says. Here, Issei said, handing over the ring. All of them. I know my granddaughter isn't the only one in your heart, Gondal replied. Issei grumbled and summoned all of the rings and handed them to Gondal, who took them. When did you plan to propose? Gondal replied. It was going to be this holiday break, but things have taken a change, Issei says. I bet, and I'm sure you have asked the other guardians for their permission, Gondal says. Yes, you were the last one. Even Grashilda, Gondal says. Why would I? Don't try to deny it. She still has feelings for you, but it's stepping out of the way of your happiness. I've come to visit Rose, so I know she pines for your friendship again and one of the magic angelic fiancé, Gondal says. Well, Issei replies, I'm not sure if I can fall back in love with Zenobia again. She admitted her faults, yes. I understand that I wouldn't mind her being a friend again. She has grown up like I have. Well, not like that, since she is from a church facility and I from a regular family. I know what you meant, Issei, Gondal replied. Since she is Rose's knight, she indirectly is under my care as Rose is under my care, Issei says. You do know that there is possibility of them being sent out, right? Gondal replies. To handle those bases? I'm aware. There's a possibility that I could have lost 2 friends if I didn't join in that message, Issei said. That may be true, Gondal replied, but with you giving information, you will have them in your favor. That is true, Issei replied. You'll also have Barkyul in your favor, Gondal says. What do you mean? Oh, you mean Akino's wing, Issei says. If she gets healthy, she can be the meat shield that keeps Rose and her safe, as she would be sent out and not Rose, Gondal says. Doubtful. You know how smug people can be, Issei says. Rose is stronger than Akino, so they will send out Rose anyways. I came back for my friends, but like I said earlier, the needs of many outweigh the needs of few. I lost a mentor to those freaks, but now, when I think about it, Arius and his 4 horsemen, it sounds foreboding. I don't know how strong Arius is, but he must be strong if he could get a sample from Hades to build a clone or whatever. And going back to your point, people can use their political power to send out those I care about on those missions. The only one that I know is safe is Irina because she is an angel and Michael wouldn't put her in any harm's way. So what would you do about the others? Gondal says. I'm going to need to compromise. And now that I think about it, I was informed that Azazel would pay whatever for Akino's wing. I think that I have an idea of what he can do. And what's that? Gondal says. Well, he can look into Elucid's research of copying the boosted gear and find a way to replicate an armored sacred gear. It also helps that we got enhanced slasher blade's arm, so it can be used to test the durability of the armor, Issei said. I would say he can work with the dwarves. Like I said, metal mines by the dwarves are refined. Some of the toughest, Gondal says. Azazel can use that to replicate a lightweight armor or skin suit armor, or rather could be magically enhanced, Issei says. It's weird why the factions did not think of this earlier. I know the Valkyries are well equipped, but, Gondal says, it's likely Odin's pride. Remember, he hasn't uttered an apology to me. I am surprised that Thor expressed his disappointment. How is that possible? Issei said. Yes, we were able to find a way to contact the seal themselves in the Trihexa. It's brief, but it provides some closure of being able to talk to loved ones again, Gondal says. I'll bet, Issei replied. Well, Gondal replied, as she stored the rings away in the ruin, I know that you will do whatever it takes to keep my granddaughter safe, so I approve your proposal. I will have the dwarves reforge your rings so they may be enchanted with charms and protection to those that you seek as your brides. Thank you, Issei replied as he stood up to bow to her. I wish you well, and I do hope that you keep your promise, Gondal says. I will defeat him. And I won't do it alone, but I will protect those that are by my side. Ha! Like a hero, Gondal says. No, Issei replies. Huh? Gondal replied with an amused expression. I'm not a hero. I'm a soldier. He smiled. A soldier fights for others don't have to. I will fight to make the world where my friends and loved ones don't have to, Issei says. I hope. I'm around to see it, Gondal replied. I'll make sure that you are, Issei says. It made her smile. She knew that Issei was in good hands as she stood up. I appreciate that. Now put your blades away. Do you still need to speak with the others, Gondal says. Only for a little bit, but then I need to go to the Phoenix territory. I have something from Ravelchon. It's supposed to be some sort of gift from Team Slashdog, and a weapon. I kind of hope it's a gun. That would help with the range against the necromorphs. That would be practical, but come on, Gondal says. Let's keep the others waiting. Let's not keep the others waiting, as she deactivated the ruin she set up earlier and exited the room. As he was exiting, Drake decided to speak to him on the matter that was related to him. Partner, do you remember when you fell into heat? Drake says. Yeah, and Minerva was there to satiate me herself too, I guess, Issei says. Then you should remember that your former teammate is part dragon, thanks to Fafnir. So if the Valkyrie's grandmother says it's true, she still has some feelings with you, who do you think she will go after if she falls into heat? Drake says. Oh, then I'll have to make sure she moves on and... Don't lie to yourself. Don't you remember how you pressed her against you to keep you from attacking Cromcrunch? Drake says. Yeah, Issei replied. Your dragon instincts were seeing her as a compatible mate. After all, you did say, nice. The comment made Issei blush heavily, being grateful that Gondal was not facing his direction. I did say that, but that was only physical attraction, Issei says. Perhaps. But was it physical when you went to train with her in the underground dojo? You remember how you were young, and you wanted to take both her and your angel wife at the same time? And I should warn you, since your magic is your mate, there is a slight chance that she could go into heat. You'll have to satite her eventually. Ugh, Issei said. I was hoping to get engaged before moving forward in levels of intimacy. That didn't stop you with the Phoenix, Drake says. Hey, Minerva had gotten us naked and immigrant between my legs before I could protest, and then watching Minerva and Rabble in action, as a trail of thought went back to that night, Issei started blushing. Please don't let my granddaughter see you with that face, or you'll think that something inappropriate happened between us, or that you were thinking of something inappropriate happening between us, Gondal says. Huh? Issei said, snapping out of his thoughts to meet Gondal's stern expression. It was that he noticed something dripping from his nose. Reaching up to it, he pulled it away to see the blood and then realized Gondal was saying. His thoughts of a foursome between him, Ravel, Minerva, and Immigold have diluted in his thoughts. It also did not help Drake, reminding him of perverted fantasies back then, a threesome with Irina and Zenobia. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Issei said. I wasn't thinking of you in any way. It won't happen again. Please forgive me. Bowing in shame for his potential in-law to witness his perverted face. Of course, Drake was snickering at his partner's predicament of being caught in such a position, reminiscing about the night with his mates. Let's hope not, and you should calm yourself. That blush on your face will only make you look suspicious. Issei said. Gondal just turned away while Issei smacked himself and groaned in frustration. He decided to wait a few moments and then went to find upstairs the restroom to calm himself. Gondal had noticed that she had turned to go upstairs. She had an excuse when Issei came up to her. Where's Issei? Rosvisa says. He went to use the restroom. I think he was a little flustered. Flustered? Did he come down with a fever or eat something wrong? Not that I could see. He was fine during our talk. Who knows? I see your knight and cousin have left, Gondel says. Yes, Latia left shortly after Rosvisa to speak with the Juka-sama. Biafiel followed shortly to inform sorry, could he be going in heat, Zenobia says. She thought out loud. What was that, Zenobia? Sikavera says. Huh? Oh, nothing. Sorry, Zenobia replied. She wondered if Issei was going into heat, which is a possibility. If he was fine, then suddenly became flustered, it could indicate that he is in the process of starting mating season. Why did you think you'd be going into heat in the first option, though? Rosvisa says. Well, it's happened to me before, Zenobia says, which I assume it was during those months you avoided Sikivera and I, which is wise, Olivian says. When has this happened? Rosvisa says. You remember how I told you about catching Sanji and Momo in the student council office? Yes, wait. You wouldn't have joined in. I thought dragons give off pheromorns, Rosvisa says. That is correct. However, I think she had someone else in mind, Olivian says. Yeah, but because I'm not an idiot, I threw him away. When I was running for the student council president, there were times where I did fantasize about Issei and I doing it before that night. When I opened my big mouth and didn't listen to you, Rose-chan, my former best friend. So seeing Sanji and Momo are the ones to do it, I was jealous. That was supposed to be me and Issei. Along with, she stopped herself, clamping her mouth shut. Along with who, Zenobia? Rosvisa says. She could see that the perversion that Zenobia had was coming back and falling into her fantasies. I cannot say. Only making Rosvisa frown and narrow her eyes. Zenobia, as your mistress, I command you to spit it out. Don't make me use the power of your peace. Along with who? Rosvisa says. Along with Irina. All right, Zenobia says, blushing heavily. She would use the same intermenstrual room, so she wouldn't fall, of course. Rosvisa says, Minerva would be thrilled with you, speaking in a deadpan tone, as she knew that the black-haired beauty was not shy about her thrust into with Inva Golden. It was something that Minerva noted privately to Rosvisa. Rosvisa remembered her saying that she liked to have fun with women, but only if they had been with Issei, and riling Issei up that way. According to Minerva, it leads to some fulfilling nights, but sometimes excruciating mornings as Issei would be in a panic about being late to class. The same with Invigold. Minerva seemed to enjoy making them late, but there were times where they gave up and just cuddled with the woman so he wouldn't get reprimanded. Rosvisa could understand what Ravel might have gone through, and Zenovia's perversion was no surprise. It might have been something that Zenobia had accepted as part of herself. Unfortunately, her hypocrisy had sent away the one that she wanted in someone who could not match her in terms of perversion. Rosvisa was also aware of Irina's perversion. When the angel let loose, she surpassed both Koroka and Akano in that regard. It let Rosvisa see how compatible Irina was to Issei, being the childhood friends. They enjoyed similar things. However, they had different upbringings. Irina's in church had suppressed her perversion, while Issei's perversion flourished because he had no limitations. Being with the devil also helped flourishing his perversions, just like it did with Zenobia and her perversion. Huh, Zenobia says? Nothing, Rosvisa says, shaking her head to avoid the blush coming from her own cheeks. Well, it would make my decision easier on the proposal that I have for him, Sigurd says. What proposal is that? Issei replied, coming down the stairs looking normal. Issei, do you feel flustered and burning? Olivian says. No, I'm fine, Issei says. Do you know when your mating season begins? Olivian replies. That's a little inappropriate, don't you think? Issei says. He's asking because Gundel noted how you suddenly felt flustered, and Zenobia wondered if you were going into heat, as noted having a similar experience after the incident. The comment made Zenobia want to hide in shame. So she has gone into heat before. Good to know. At least you can prepare yourself now, Drake says. Yeah, good to know, Issei says. His sweat dropped while responding to sarcastically towards Drake. So what made you so flustered? Rosvisa says. Well, I was thinking about Minerva. Not surprising. A dragon would think about his mate. There's a possibility that you were thinking of her sexually, which was made Issei hot and bothered, making Issei become aghast, while Sigurd began laughing. Oh, it's not funny, Seek-san, Issei says. Are you kidding me? Yes, it is, as she continued, which made turn Gundel and Rosvisa laugh. Zenobia let out a sigh of relief, as the attention was not on her, but she didn't laugh. She knew that Issei wouldn't be in this situation if she didn't open her big mouth again. She mouthed a sorry to Issei, who was too busy trying to get Sigurd to stop laughing at him. It was very clear that the two were just friends and didn't have any romance brewing. It also felt like a little brother getting teased by his big sister. This was something that Issei could testify, as Grafia would tease him as well. Like when she came to him after that party, sure. He had been mad, but she still loved his big sister, at least to the decency to come see him, unlike the other family of her in-laws. So what's the proposal that you were thinking about? Issei says, smacking Sirivega on the shoulder with a pout, which did get her to stop laughing as she grumbled at him. Well, before you rudely interrupted me, did not, Issei said, only glaring that made him put his hands in surrender as he backed away to stand near Rosvisa. Like I was saying, when you get your pieces, I would propose a trade. You could take Rosvisa with you, Sikiveri says, which surprised all of them. What? Issei said. You heard me. Yeah, but it doesn't make any sense, Issei says. How so? She is one of your precious people and lovers, so I don't see why you can't take her to go live with you. Issei looked at Gondel, remembering something that they talked about, which Gondel's eyes widened and she knew that Issei would reject this proposal. You also forget that you're one of my precious people too, Seek-san. You've been my friend throughout this whole ordeal when it started 18 months ago. Taking Rosvisa and also Zenovia would not be good. Because if someone comes after you to get me, you would have lost some major firepower, and I cannot allow that. I was going to trade Zenovia to you, Rosvisa says. Let's not treat Zen like a used prop. She's learned more under you than she probably could with me. It would also be a bit quick. I only got Irina to accept training with her, and Irina can be stubborn, similar to me, but I still love her, Issei says. It did make Zenovia give a small smile that Irina was willing to work with her. She knew that it would be baby steps from getting the angel's trust again. She wasn't so sure that Issei's trust, but she would try to get it. Let him know that he can count on her during a mission. Huh? I didn't think you would reject the offer. Sikiveri says, Huh, you didn't think I would reject you? Well, this is the first time for everything. You're the one that taught me that, Issei says. Yeah, you're right. As she chuckled, also here's this. What is it? It's a means for you to contact Latia. I thought that she would see me off, if she needed to inform Majuka, which works for me. This is also a transport seal to her territory. From here, there will meet me and take you to Ajuka. I better let you guys know as well. Vali, Sanji, Kiba, and Gasper will all want to know what we will be dealing with. They can bring their teams. I'm going to head to the Phoenix territory to speak with Ravel about the meeting as well. Things are going to be a bit busy since after the holiday break we will have classes and all. Whew. That is true. Sona and her Paraj will be hard-pressed. I'm sure that she will be looking into substitutes. Since I have opted out of teaching at Ko University, I will work here full-time, so I should be fine, Rosvisa says. But I'll need a replacement, since I still have to go to university, Zenovia says. Yeah. That makes my information all the more valuable, Issei says. I'll be going to inform Odin, Gondel replies. Thank you. I have no intention of repeating myself again. She nodded. I'll see you later, Rose. I'll sure to stop by again. Yes, I'll see you later, grandmother. I'll keep in touch with you, Issei, about what we discussed, handing over the parchment to him. Thank you, Issei says. Sikiveri-san, Olivia-chan, Zenovia-san, take care as well. I'll see you later, Gondel says. It was a privilege, Gondel says, giving a bow. The pleasure was ours, giving a bow of her own. Being graced with your presence was an honor. Until next time, seeking a nod, Sikiveri says. Gondel nodded in return before creating a Nordic transport seal and walked through it and head back to Asgard and report to Odin. I'll also be taking off as well, Issei says. Unfortunately, you couldn't stay for long. I'll try to make it more next time, giving her a kiss. I hope to battle with you. You probably will. I need you to look out for Seek-san when I'm not around, pulling Semi-Dragon for a hug. I can take care of myself, Sikiveri says. I know, but better safe than sorry as my friend. I'm always going to worry about you, hugging her as well. I know. She smiled, and then to annoy him, she ruffled his hair. Hey, Issei says, while smirked at her accomplishment. He fixed his hair and turned to the final person in the room. Come on, Zen, bring it in. Huh, Zenovia says? We're allies, remember? We gotta stronger to protect the ones we love, wrapping his arms around the blue-haired girl. Zenovia was shocked by the hug, but the others knew that Issei can outgrow his grudges. The expectation of being lunar because he tried to sexually assault someone he also had hit on one of his mates. The now BL Knight was lucky that Issei did not kill him, but if Issei promised it, then it would happen. It's time for you to get your confidence. Zenovia, you're going to need it for the battles ahead, and not just with the ones with Arius and his goons, Issei says. Right, Zenovia replied. As she knew what it meant, she would have to face Irina again, and hope that she can speak with the angel and rebuild the bridge. She did not reciprocate the hug, and was still a bit in shock at receiving one, but she did know it was a bit jealous of the others receiving his warmth. Me and my damn mouth, Zenovia says, taking in his warmth before you let go of her. Take care of her like you always have. Of course, Rosvisa says, taking another hug from him is whispering into his ear. When you're healed, we can finish what we started. It made Issei blush, and he knew what it was referring to, if only he didn't get himself injured by Cromcrunch. Yeah, Rosvisa exuded the confidence that looks in for a woman. It was part of the reason that he had been attracted to women like Rias and Akano the most. Previously, it was also why he was attracted to Minerva and Rosweisa now. Invigold's confidence grew thanks to Minerva, and Ravel was always confident. So to put it in her radar, Irina also had that confidence. She also had a bonus of being his childhood sweetheart. Until tomorrow, Issei says, creating a magic circle to head to the Phoenix territory, or more specifically, Ravel's room. He's right, Zenobia. It's time for the dissipating princess to make a return. How do you? Zenobia replied. You forget that I talked to Irina as well. You're going to have to face her, and she knows that she will have to face you. If you remember Issei's statement, she accepted that she will have to train with you. You two are going to have to work together at some point. You'll have to need each other's backs. I know you wouldn't have leave her behind, and despite how she acts, I'm sure she wouldn't leave you behind either. How can you be so sure? Take Issei, for example. You remember how you were when you first met him? Rosweisa says, yes, I thought he was befitting of a devil, being of a sexual desire and greed. Zenobia replied, that he never took you on your offer of making babies, and how did Irina react? Well, she obviously didn't like to be stripped in public, but I could tell she had affection for him, considering that winking can be used as means of a flirtation. She would always wink at him, and she'd give him some suggestions numerous times. I wondered if his perversion was creeping back. After all, it was he told me his fascination for big breasts after the mission against the Stray Devils. Zenobia says, ha! Those are two peas in a pot, Seaver replied. Right, Rosweisa says. She didn't leave Issei behind. Zenobia, she didn't want to disappoint him like she does to disappoint her. If she were to leave you behind to die, he would be disappointed. So yes, I'm sure she would not leave you behind. Just like how you know that he would be disappointed in leaving her behind. You may not be his lover, but you are a comrade and he will trust you to an extent. But he would never want any of his comrades being left behind. You're right, Zenobia says, relaxing a little. Well, I guess I better go train. You know, vent a little. I think I'll join you, Rosweisa says. I will not. So take care, Seaver says, as a magic circle and leaving with Olivian, who nodded as a barrage mates before following her mistress. Well then, shall we? Of course. I'm guessing you're going to use a polar arm replica? No, I will try to use a smaller sword. You never know, you could be trapped into a corridor. I wouldn't have enough room to swing polar arm. I agree. It's why I have Wakashashi, is under your suggestion for the same reason, Zenobia said. We may learn that it is effective against necromorphs. According to Kiba, their limbs work quite well on it. That's how he saw Issei fight them. That's a smart idea. It reduces wear and tear on your own weapons, Zenobia says. I'm aware, as he showed the factions that as well. Well, he's not the same guy that you left that night, Rosweisa says. Indeed, as they headed to the underground dojo for some training of their own. Now we're in the Phoenix territory. Meanwhile, Issei had transported himself to Ravel's room and immediately met with a fireball to the face. It was then followed by a shriek from Ravel. Issei-sama, Ravel says, sorry to drop it on you. As he stopped talking, what is it? You're, topless, Issei said as he turned around. Well, it's nothing you haven't seen before, remember, as she put her hands on her hips. Right. So what do you need? I have a feeling that you're not here for a social visit. Ravel-chan, you're one of my mates. Why wouldn't I come see you? Just spit it out. Issei-sama, as she put a shirt on and then crossed her arms over her chest. Straight to the point, as expected of you. Anyway, I came here to receive a gift from Team Slashdog left me. Frankly, I hope it's like a gun or something, because I don't have any ranged weapons. It would be beneficial. What is it? Pausing as he noticed her looking at him in amusement. Well, for one, you like to ramble about weapons like Zenobia, she laughed. Oh, remembering how Rosweisa told him that aspect of Zenobia's character. Ravel and... In number 2, you're right about the guns. As she went to collect the closet, did you talk to Natsume or something? Huh, Issei says. I'm curious about how you knew about the guns and Natsume. She's their gun specialist and a big fan of your show. She's the girl who put behind... Holy shit. She's the girl who you put behind at the meeting. Did you think that she was Irina-sama? I wouldn't blame you if she did. She kind of reminds me of her as well. Similar personalities, you know, with both of them being energetic. Oh, I didn't talk to her and no. I was hoping for guns because it would help ranged weapon arsenal. It could also keep necromorphs at a distance. Natsume thought of the same thing. She also made the others in Gregara work on it. As she came out with a black case and handed over to Issei. So what do you think? Issei opened up the case to find a black pistol. It looked futuristic a little and she had a red accent to it. accent to it. Whoa, Issei says, pretty cool, huh? Well, Tobia said they are making more at other teams of DXD. Yeah, well, they should also be making some armors as well. That'll be too costly, Ravel says. With the information that I have, they will. Regarding the necromorphs, I presume, sitting on the bed next to him. Yeah, I'm going to need you to tell your brothers that there will be a meeting tomorrow. I'm going to give what I know in exchange. They will make sure that my loved ones are safe. That includes you, Ravel. Well, I'll be by your side when you get your pieces, Ravel says. I can move to your team. I even applied to your college as well, so when the school year is done, I can move with you. That's great. Irina's already moving in with me. She's already transferred. I'm going to surprise her for Christmas, Issei says. Seems like it's coming full circle since she confessed to you around that time. Yeah, she did, nodding in agreement. So how do you feel about this, Ravel says. All of what? Don't you feel like you're being pressured? Oh, by the factions? No. By my dreams and goals? Then yes. I've been making promises that I need to keep. I will see it to you that you don't get harmed in this war, Ravel. I'm not really on good terms with the BL clan, considering what JR did to you, and there's Devlin. The only good one is dead. If she's still alive, Irina would still have been with me and co. But she didn't go. Do you think that we'd have met the people along the way? Ravel says, yes and no. I have a feeling that her family could have taken in Nausea. I wouldn't have met the best manager that I could ask for. I might not have my best friend, or probably worried that I'd lose Irina to him. Irina-sama is not superficial, Ravel says. Yeah, I know. I'm an average looking and she still attracted me despite the years away. Issei says, well, you know the saying, Issei-sama, if you do love something, you have to let it go. If it comes back to you, it was meant to be. Like you mentioned in the hospital and how many times Irina has lost you. Think about the many times that you come back to her. Albeit, sure you were infatuated with Ria-sama, but that ship has sailed. She didn't have to string you along, and now she's paying the price, Ravel says. Yeah, as he wrapped his arms around Ravel, but even so, I don't wish then upon them. You were never one to hold a grudge, Ravel-sama. Issei-sama, Ravel says. Just look at Vali-sama, Kuroka-sama, and Keokeo-sama. They were enemies once. You had grudges over them for different reasons, but you befriended most of them. You're right about that. I was too soft. No, you weren't. You're kind-hearted, and there's nothing wrong with that. You helped my brother with his pompous attitude, and sure, I had one too, but even after you helped me with this fear of dragons. Yeah, he wanted to peep on you girls. When you were that hot spring, maybe it was karma for coming after me. Issei says, how so? Ravel says, I used to peep on girls. I might not have checked if someone was with another man. It would have been against my morals by peeping on another man's woman. You don't know how awkward it was when Ni-sama approached me in the bath one time. Really? Grafia-sama approached you, Revel says? Yeah, she was drunk and that made it worse. Because she could be erratic and not her usual composed self. I was frozen stiff until Rias came to my rescue. Ha! I guess she did do something right, but it's likely her jealousy that took effect. I mean, if someone like Akano, she probably would have acted the same. True. You know what I don't understand, Issei says? What? Revel says. She knew I wanted a harem. She literally used that to coerce me to become a high-class devil. However, she wasn't willing to share me and would act jealous in all those arguments. If the other girls were needed, she could have just let me go, and she could be with Devlin, while I pursued my harem. Her jealousy was souring the relationship that I took and look at it. Not just hers, but Adya's as well, but she kept following Reese's examples, which I tried to prevent. Well, Azia wanted you to see her as a woman, Revel says. Then she should have acted as herself, not like Rias. She became less of my little sister and more of Rias's little sister. It felt shallow. I don't have it with Invogold. The mention of the Leviathan made Ravel chitch in response. She gave me similar vibes to Azia. When we met, I was a bit worried that Minerva would be like Rias to Invogold's Azia, but Invogold became her own person. Don't I know it, Revel says. She grumbled. Ha, I guess you got a new rival. That's time on more of an elemental side rather than an animal kingdom hierarchy. I think I would say that I turned out better than my mangy cat, which you should know that I can go toe-to-toe with despite her being a bush-up while she's a rook, Revel says. It adds more to your versatility. Have you practiced any more weapons, Issei says? Of course, Revel replied. I have a blaster of my own. It's why I went to Team Slashdog and worked for Natsume. So you worked for her, huh? Issei says. Yeah, it's how they decided a gun would work for you, since you work with melee weapons. A ranged weapon works for me as a push-up, but if I use my fist, I will. I will also utilize my magic and fighting style. I can thank Ross Sensei for that. Nice. The stronger we get, the better, Issei says. Right, Revel replied as she went back to relax in his arms. Hey, Issei-sama, yes? Do you think we can win this one? The war, I mean. What makes you have any doubts? Issei says. Well, I mean, look at our family's power of regeneration to make that thing. What happens if they're able to make one like the Mal Lucifer or Beelzebub-sama? Then what? Well, they already have a copy of Hades, so we are going to have to do this together. I know that on my own, I can't be someone like Hades. I'm going to need Volley, or how I needed him to defeat Loki, which I will never forget, and you basically saved my life with that phoenix tear you gave me. Issei says. It was nothing, Revel replied, blushing at the praise. Well, it meant everything to me, Ravel-chan. You take care of me and made me fall for you. It's like how I fell for Irina. As she turned to Ravel at him, I'm going to hold on to you that care, love, to make sure that I can fight for another day to see your smiles. I'll have your back, just like you have mine. We're all in this together. I know we are. So you're going to kiss me now or what? Don't think that I don't see you looking at my lips. Going back to Tsundere mode, it only made Issei smile as well as he kissed her and handed her to her body, but he didn't grope anything. May I? Breathing the kiss, but it was still close enough that she could feel his breath. You may. As she felt his hand creep her breath, she was silenced by another eclipse, turning to a mini... Okay. Yeah, we know. I gotta stop there or I might not be able to help myself. Issei says, I thought you shouldn't start what you can't finish, trying to rile him up. You're right. Maybe I should head back to Roshan's place. All we did was... Really? Ravel says, yeah, my injury from Kron Crunch wouldn't let me do much. Oh, I guess it's not a competition. Please don't make it like that. That's how Rias operated, Issei says. Right, sorry. Bowing in embarrassment. It's alright. Just let your brothers know of the meeting tomorrow, okay? I will. Thank you. Giving her another kiss and packing up the gun case. I'll see you tomorrow. Alright, you have a wonderful evening. I may have to get ready for dinner. Oh, right. Hopefully I didn't mess your clothes up. It's fine, Issei-sama straightening her clothes until we meet again. Until then, giving a quick kiss and storing the gun case in the storage with the one magic circle and then creating another magic circle to head back to Kyoto. His last image of Raoul was seeing her smile as he left the room. Same with Rasvisa, same with Dimagold, same with Minerva and Irina. Seeing the smiles of Kano and sometimes Lilith when she let her emotions come out. Seeing the smiles of his parents' potential in-laws made him proud. He wanted to see those smiles in Arius would not take them away from him. Now at Yakuza's palace. Returning to Kyoto, he was surprised to find the ladies were around... or not back yet. He sensed that they were elsewhere in the palace. He was not going to say hi, but he was interrupted. I wouldn't do that if I were you, Goro says. Tosan, Oji-san. Seeing his father-in-law, Toji relaxing in the living room. What's going on? It's a girls' night. You know, no boys allowed. He laughed. Oh, well, I need to go tell them about the meeting. As luck would have it, I would also need to meet... Gondel and asked for Rasvisa's hand in marriage. Oh, how'd that go? She accepted my proposal. However, I need to prepare it as I need to ensure my loved ones are safe to sorry to this. Oji-san, but I don't want you in this fight. Now, Toji says, no, Irina nearly lost you. When you attacked by... when you got attacked by Masamune when he was revived, she had lost me multiple times, but I can watch over her. Since you will be by my side, I cannot say the same for you, so I cannot have you joining this war, even if the injuries are recovered. Please, Oji-sama, just stay put on this one. I will talk to Michael, but you are out. Toji stared at his surrogate son, and he knew that Issei would not take no for an answer. He knew this would be Irina was also stubborn. The two troublemakers that they were both stubborn and a passion to help others. Alright, but first, I think guys should have a talk. Let the girls enjoy their night, Toji says. I agree with that, Goro replied, as they led a three-way walk to exit. Issei was a little confused by the suggestion, but he followed them along anyways. They needed to see the streets of Kyoto. There were some yokai around, stopped to greet Issei. Who would wave at them? They continued their walk in silence, feeling the cool, evening the air. So what's going on? Nothing, just taking a stroll as guys. Well, I might be in for a rude awakening tomorrow, Issei said. Why is that? I kind of scheduled a meeting to give my information on the necromorphs, and Yakuza doesn't know everything that I know, like Invigol and Minerva, so they may be informed of the meeting by one of their leaders. Helping the factions, huh? Goro says, somewhat. The last thing I need is some of the crooked members of the Demon Council trying to send my frames on suicide missions in order to get at me. But I think Trihexa is gaining back the control. After all, he's supposed to be their leader, not their puppet. I can agree with you on that. Looks like you're going to be busy, Goro says. Your aunt would like us to leave in the next couple of days. You know, she is worried about a restaurant with the holidays around. Some people in England would like to try some Japanese cuisine, Toji says. Yes, Mickey was helping her out, Goro says. Free labor was beneficial. I kind of wish that we knew magic. We could teleport all over the place. Yeah, but not too much. We can do about it, huh? Goro says. We should do something as a family, all families together, before you guys leave. That would be a great idea. Get a nice family photo, Toji says. Yeah, hey Issei, when do you plan to propose? I was asked that earlier, but I had planned to do it during the holiday break. But knowing the base was nearby in Kiba and Gasper, it kind of felt stalled those plans. Don't wait too long. We're looking forward to grandchildren, you know. If only we had stayed, maybe we could have gotten one by now, he laughed. Toji says, no, you wouldn't, Issei replied. He may be right. The perversion of both you and come to fruition, Goro says. Yeah, you likely would have been sexually active once you hit puberty, Toji says. He laughed. I hope Irina never hears you, Oji-san. You should thank me. Who knows what could happen if we never teased her about her crush and fall in love with you. Wanting to see you again was part of her drive and working hard to become an exorcist. I guess you're right. Thank you for keeping her love strong for me. I felt that I disappointed her, though I do wish that you guys kept in contact so I could be able to talk with her. I probably would have been better if I had been there to scold me about my perversion and showing those blurry lines that I couldn't see. Sure, I kept some morals, such as not groping without permission, but I know that she would have scolded me for peeping game to correct me. You know, she actually gave me some battle advice after she beat me in our first spar. Now, she doesn't have that holy advantage because I'm not a devil anymore, but I'm sure she could still beat me in a pure sword battle. Everything else, it's possible that I have her number now. Oh, no, don't let her hear you say that. You know how competitive you two and still are, but even more, you have stepped up too, Issei. I am glad that you have entered her life, giving her a friend and someone to fall for. Of course, over time, you did grow better yourself and protect your loved ones, including her. I am proud to call you my surrogate son. But soon you will have a future son-in-law. We may have joked that you would be responsible for her, and it looks like you are. I am certain you will cherish her feelings. Issei starts. As I told you before, she is someone precious to me. She loves me for all of me and not just bits and pieces. I couldn't ask for anyone better to share the rest of my life with. I will take care of her and know Minerva and Immigold as well. I will also take care of them. Now that I think about it, I've been saying a lot of I when it comes to the new enemy, and there's no I, it seems. So I should be saying we more often. We won't let Urias do what he wants. I know my parents, you will worry for us, because we were in the war previously as teenagers. I already died enough times. I have no intention of dying a third time. You know what they say, 3 strikes and you're out, Gro says. Yeah, well this is my last one, so I have to talk it and make a count for it. It's worth, Issei says. Oh, you better. You're not going to make my little girl cry again, Toji says. Yes. I'm already aware of that. I'm already aware of the damage that I did by rejecting her with coming to Tokyo. It is one regret, and now that she is back with me, I have no intention of letting her go again. Good. I can't wait to see the surprise of you showing up, Toji says. I just hope wives don't blabber it out. You know how they can be with a few drinks in them, Goro says. Ha! You're right. We can only hope the best. Oh. Teriyaki, Toji says. Let's get some with some drinks. It's a fine night. All he says is, nuh-uh. Son, you've done enough, Goro replies. Let your uncle and old man treat you tonight, as Goro, and walked up to the food vendor to get some food. I know you would do anything for them, Drake says. I nearly lost both of them. I would do anything for my family. I know. It's going to be an army to defeat someone like Urias, Drake says. Then we make one. We are going to take him out, any of his followers. His research about the necromorphs, we're going to obtain peace once again, Drake. As I told you, we will burn anything to the ground that gets in our way, Drake says. Yeah, speaking out loud. Yeah, what? Gro says. Huh? Issei replies. You look out of it. Please don't tell me that you got far away from look at me. I already know how Irina is when we go into our little worlds, but I hoped you didn't get it, Toji says. Well, I tended to do that. When I thought of breast, Oji-sama, but no, I was talking about Drake. Oh, I tended to, so you've done a fantasy world, huh? Ha! You guess where you get it from, Toji says. Ha, maybe, Issei replies. So what were you talking about, Goro says. Peace and what we need to achieve it. Well, you can't do anything on an empty stomach. Showing the teriyaki and drinks that they brought. Come on. I see a dry bench over there. The three headed to the bench. Toji and Goro took a swig of their beers as they ate food. Man, my baby girl's going to get married, Toji says. If you hadn't moved away, we might have arranged a marriage between the two. She would have liked that, but Issei, would you? I know you were helped some girls with arranged marriages before, but if you were one with Irina, would you have been okay with it? Well, probably, because I would have grown to love her when I realized that she was a girl. If she had stayed, considering that she was my best friend, I would have promised to marry her because that's what you do, right? You marry your best friend. She knows my ins and outs. I probably could have been trained by you as well, if you saw. Then maybe she wouldn't have had to give up on her dreams for the church. I'd want her to retire so that the bakery she dreams of our relationship would probably be a parallel to both your marriages. Her at home while I am working out, making sure that they are safe. Unfortunately, my issue is that I'm the Red Dragon Emperor. Danger always follows me. They could have used her to get home like how I used Asor and you and Kasan, Tosan. Not a fond memory that I like to remember, Gro says. Grimacing about the former rating game champion fed Issei's dragon's blood as a means to turn him into a monster. Sure, Issei says, I could have been less perverted growing up. I also might not have been Rainier because I would have had Irina as my girlfriend. However, who knows what Zenobia could have turned out to be without Irina to be her friend. I might not have had Kiba as my best friend or befriended Gasper. Well, I probably would have if we had peace, meaning still. Azia would have been Dodoria's puppet. Despite what she did to me, no one deserves that bastard's puppet. Although she ended up being Lunar's puppet, so maybe it was meant for her to be her destiny and I only delayed the inevitable. Those are some interesting points, Toji-san says. Point is, everything happens for a reason. She came back and needed to do better. I might have known back then, but I had better, not just for myself, but also others as well, as Yeda's Toyaki. Well, nobody's perfect, Goro says. Issei, yeah, you were perverted due to our family lineage. All along with your grandfather, of course. It grew exponentially when you became a teenager. That is common for teenagers, Toji says. The hormones and all. I swear I don't know if I can handle Irina if Mizuki wasn't around. You know, with periods and cramps and other womanly functions. Shaking his head, eating his food, while other two laughed. Well, makes me a little glad that Issei had to chip off the old block. His major lets him work with technology and business side of things. Oh, maybe Irina might be some of your classes. I know her major's business related, Toji says. Well, she's going to be running a bakery one day, so of course, she would need to learn the essentials of running a business. He smiled. Don't tell me, Guru replied. Yep, I'm going to get her one. One day, she's no longer going to be giving up on her dreams for church. And she took a drink juice since she was not of age to drink. She would like that, Toji said. He smiled. The three men continued to eat their teriyaki and enjoy their drinks. They continued to talk about respective jobs. Toji had relegated to a non-combat role after healed from his injuries in heaven. Goro was working on well with Sekivera's father, but they knew of a friendship between their children, so they never brought it up anything about marriage, since there were no romance developed. Issei was doing well in his studies, considering how he got into the supernatural world. He was an average student. However, his work ethic and drive to help him become a better student, and his grades improved. Eventually, they finished their meal and threw their drinks in the trash and walked away, so they could head back to the palace. Issei made a note to do the guys' night with Kiba, Gasper, and Sanji. When they got back to the palace, it was still silent, but Issei sensed that the girls were in Yakuza's room. Since the girls also sensed Issei, they knew that Toji and Goro had arrived, as well as noted calls with their wives. Miki, Mizuki, Goro, Toji, get in here, their wives said. I guess it's our cue, Goro replied. Yeah, maybe I could. Issei, stay right here, they both said, making them... Miki and Mizuki said, making him pout as he could not come see what the girls were doing. Luckily for him, Kano and Lilith came to greet him and give him hugs. Hey, you two. Hi, Oni-chan. Hey, Oni-chan. You guys have a good day? Yep, we went shopping. It was fun, Kano says, while Lilith nodded. That's good. You think you could tell me what's happening in the room? Nope, Kano says. I'll give you lots of sweets if you do, trying to cohere Lilith and to tell him. Oni-chan, bribing is not nice, she frowned. So you won't tell me? Sorry, Oni-chan, but Kasan said that you have to wait. She didn't say how long I had to wait? No. All right, then, Issei says. Come on, Lilith-chan, let's not keep your mother waiting, as he took her hand. I'm going to call it early. I have a big day tomorrow. You have a good night, okay? Okay, good night. Good night, Oni-san. Good night. As he kissed both of them on the forehead and hugged his father, Toji. Thanks for the evening. I'll say it again. I am proud of you, and I'm glad I kept Irina's belief in you. Sure, it was a struggle early on, but that's what we love about it, Toji says. I'll never forget what you and Oba-san have done to keep her love for me intact. I will cherish that love and make sure to never tarnish it. I may not be perfect, but I'll do what I can to be perfect for her, for all of them, Issei says. then just keep being you. Patting Issei on the back. Now then, we have some wives to attend to. Toji says, have a good night. We'll definitely be talking and taking something together as a family. Goro says, alright, see you guys tomorrow. Issei says, waving the four, walked up into Yakuza's room while he went off to his own. When he got closer, he realized that Orphis was in the room, and it made him wonder why she was not with the others. He had sensed her earlier, but he kept nothing on about it. He opened up the door and could see that she was resting, so he quietly entered the room to change his sleepwear. Oh, you're back, Orphis says, and you're not asleep. Why aren't you with the others? It got too noisy, and you know I like my silence. I guess, but how was the girls' night before you left? Fine, they had a fashion show. Oh, the girls said they went shopping and don't know why they didn't tell me that they had a fashion show, Issei says. Probably because they didn't want to tell you what they got. Your mothers enjoyed it. They got a lot of pictures. Want to tell me what they got? Sorry, but no. You'll just have to wait and see. Dang, you too, huh? Even for some sweets? Girls code. Orphis says, I thought we were friends. When are we not? When you started keeping secrets from me, Issei said. Sorry, but they want to surprise you, so I give them the benefit of the doubt. Ha, if you say so, Issei replies. As he went to bed, well, tomorrow's going to be a busy day. Whew. Got a meeting with the leaders, Issei says. Why? Orphis says, I'm going to give you what I know, obviously for a price. So it's that time, huh? Well, you're not the one to hold a grudge usually. No, it's more of making sure that I have insurance that my friends and loved ones are not sent on suicide missions. That seems more like you, Orphis says. Also, could you teach me more how to sense your power? Volley doesn't need to be the one looking for your mistakes. Plus, a part of your power is a part of me too. I want to be able to get your power back, Issei says. And you'll help me defeat Baka Red? I thought you got past that when you brought me back to life. I would still like my house, Issei, Orphis says. Your home is with me, Orphis. You're my sister and my friend. The statement made Orphis blink. You mean that? You've asked me this before, and yes, I mean that. Your home is whenever me. Lilith, Tosan, Kochan, Kano-san, Yakuza-san, Bachan, Oji-san, Oba-san, Minerva, Irina, Invigold, Rosvisa, Ravel, Kiba, Gasper, Sanji, Kuroka, Volley, and the names go on and on. You would miss us being all alone in the gap. I guess you're right, but I still want to beat Baka Red. In time. I know Volley does as well. And you know what? I think to try one day as well. After all, to become the true Red Dragon God Emperor, it sounds like a neat title. Just like Volley wants to become the White Dragon God Emperor. If we could do that, then maybe what? Maybe we can find a way to enter the Trihexa seal, help all of those gods and there. Maybe we can free them to a new world of peace. With peace, there's silence. Orphis says, that's right, Issei replied. I once saw you as a perverted father figure, but you do seem to fit the big brother role as well. You certainly were right, Treg. You know I have a unique partner. I know, Treg says. Let's get some sleep. It's going to get busy, patting Orphis on the head. You're right. Good night, Osan. Closing her eyes while Issei's eyes widened, and she never called him that. Coming out of his shock, he chuckled to himself and smiled. Good night, Orphis-chan, closing his eyes and falling into the land of dreams. Despite what he is going to do tomorrow, going through all the talks he had today, Issei did not feel nervous. He felt at peace and at ease as the fire inside of him roared silently into the night. And that is the end of chapter 19. And that is where we're going to stop for now. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this episode. I think this one's only going to be around 50 minutes or something like that, but you know, close enough to an hour. And I don't know if you could tell, but my voice is definitely giving out on me because it's so hard to like even talk. It feels like my neck is stiffening at this very moment. With all that being said, thank you so much for all the support, ladies and gentlemen. If at all possible, join the channel membership to find out when I upload. And without further ado, let's try to hit 200, 300 likes. And once again, without further ado, Spartanic Arts DxD.